now just heading towards Finger 4, getting and approaching the beach area. And it's in this beach area that we've seen the Indian and the Chinese armies face off brutally twice over just in the month of May.
And it's a beautiful beach. It's a tiny little stretch of land just jutting out into the lake, Rahul. And if you could call one little point in Ladakh ground zero during the current standoff, that would be it. In 2017, there was a big fight over there, captured famously in that viral video. May 5th, there was a big fight over there. It was the trigger point for the entire standoff. May 14th, the troops again fought over there, leading to both sides, say that, look, we can't keep brawling like this. We need to talk and pull our troops back. And that's what actually precipitated the entire Lieutenant General level talks between both sides.
Now, our sources in the Northern Command are telling us that the Chinese armies pulled out of just this beach area. They've pulled back a little further. We'll take you there as well. This beach at this moment cleared out, but there's a lot of deployment. We've got some satellite pictures from the past which show you how the Chinese in the month of June, even after the Galwan clash, had built up over there. We're now going to go towards Finger 5 and just fly by, and as we do that, we see, and you can't see so much on these pictures because, as I said, these aren't the latest maps, it's just a general sense, but the Chinese have really built up, and our past satellite maps show that they've built up huge forces. Finger 5, Finger 6, they've brought in radar stations, they've brought in more of their military boats, lined them up on the jetty. In fact, you can see some images, and these are super fast boats, Shiv.
Yeah.
In fact, once when I was in Pangong, we saw a Chinese boat go by, and the officers there told me that they can travel up to 100 kilometers per hour. That's how fast these boats can go.
And the Chinese have actually deployed even higher performance boats during the current standoff as part of a modernization process, Rahul, another indicator that the Chinese were actually here for the long haul. Finger 5 is interesting because that is precisely where the current deadlock is. The Chinese have moved back from Finger 4, but they're stuck at Finger 5. They've created a lot of infrastructure there, huge number of boat jetties, lots of boat activities. Like you mentioned, small marinas have been set up. Someone even referred to it as a mini naval base. That may be a bit of an exaggeration, but if you look at the number of boats, the number of water squadron elements that have been placed in this particular area in Finger 5, very close to Finger 4, it's incredible to notice the intent of the Chinese in this area.
As we pass Finger 7, then Finger 8, and remember, on the ground there's now much more military deployment over there. We're now coming to a place called Shrijap. First there's Shrijap 2, which you can see, and Shrijap and 2 and 1 is where Major Dan Singh Thapa in 1962 fought off the Chinese. This is where that battle happened. And remember, what that essentially means is that India earlier held territory up till Shrijap 2 and Shrijap 1. This was before 1962. So they've actually been systematically pushing us westwards as they keep coming in further and further, which is why the Indian Army said, enough is enough, now you need to go back, you can't just keep coming in. And if you see there, Shiv, they've got a lot of deployment and they've increased it both around Shrijap 2 and then even on Shrijap 1. We're now approaching a place called Rimutang. Rimutang is the largest Chinese base. In fact, prior to 1998, this was the main Chinese post. You had Shrijap 1 and 2, which were like the outposts, but this was their main headquarters. Very well developed. And one of the amazing things about this simulation is you can actually see the vehicles there as well. You see wide roads, you see these vehicles, and it gives you a very real sense of what Shrijap looks like.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy in terms of how you see these vehicles. It gives you a sense that, oh my God, we've landed on Chinese territory, which actually we haven't. But it's just to give you a sense of what's going on the Chinese side. And unlike you know, what we saw on the Indian side is a very basic post. If you see a place like Rimutang, it shows you how they've developed their infrastructure, whether it's in terms of roadways, the buildings, the entire deployment. It's very high-class infrastructure.
This is a really visible depiction of what is meant by creating facts on the ground, Rahul. What they've basically created is not just a small little military encampment. It's a small-sized town practically. You know, with its own facilities. It has people living there. There are many civilians who support the military that functions out of there. Rimutang is basically the mothership of Pangong activity westwards from this particular area. There are water squadrons that are based here, which send out their boat elements and their other resources to the outposts like we saw closer to Finger 5 and Finger 6. So this is Rimutang is extremely important in that sense.
We're going to turn around and fly back towards the westernmost part of the lake, this time on the south bank. So what we did so far was to fly from Finger 1 till Finger 8, then Shrijap and then to Rimutang. Now we fly back and we'll start on the southern bank, because increasingly the action seems to be shifting to the southern bank, which is where the Chinese are currently furious with the army for having made some serious ingress, and we'll tell you about that. Let's just fly back first.